Today on Navigating Retirement, an extended version because sometimes 3 minutes just isn't enough to talk about all the issues with retirement. And David, today's your chance to talk about the Retireability score. For our viewers, what exactly is that and how did you develop it?
Well, you know what, maybe I should step back a little bit. I started in the business 25 years ago and I was working with London Life, and you remember Freedom 55?
I do, yeah.
Well,
that was my dream, Freedom 55.
There you go, yeah. I mean,
it's not happening.
Now it's Freedom 85, but whatever it is. But anyway, you know, the whole concept was selling financial security, and nothing's changed in the industry. Most financial advisors do that really well, helping people on the finance side of it. So I wasn't able to find a retirement planning tool out there that really was able to score and measure how well people were prepared in other areas. And so I set out to develop this tool in November of 2013, and I've been working on it ever since. And basically what it does is it scores 8 different measures, and it helps people be more aware and prepared in those 8 measures.
It's an online survey, Jeff, and what kinds of things are you guys finding out?
Well, in terms of the information that we're looking to gather, there, over and above the financial side of it, people answer questions on their vision, the kind of legacy they want to leave behind, what their accommodation expectations are as they go into retirement, their health, their social network, the people they meet, and we're finding that what Dave's tool has allowed us to do is quantify that and give people a score based on their complete outlook on retirement as opposed to just the financial aspects.
What kind of average score are we talking?
I've done, well, we've done probably a little over 200 of them. Yeah. And the average age is 55 years old, but the average age of retirement is 61, and the average score for total score is 71%, which is telling me that people are 70% of the way there, but you know that we've got a 30% difference that we can fulfill. Another thing that I found really interesting was that only about 25% of the people that answered the survey actually had a clear vision of their retirement, which surprised me. There's all sorts of stats in there that that are very interesting with it.
Now, I took the survey, Jeff. I came out at 65. That's not good. Should I be worried? I'm nowhere near it.
You scored a solid C.
Yeah, a solid C. Yeah, just like my daughter in high school. Yeah.
But no. What it really does is identify areas that you want to work to improve. I mean, even if you're in retirement, the tool is very valuable. It gives you an opportunity to say, okay, where am I weak? Where am I strong? And then you can go back and focus on the things that you want to improve that make a difference.
How do you plan for changes? I mean, for example, the government just introduced higher TFSA limits, which is probably a good thing for people considering retirement, right? They can put more money into. We didn't have that, 5 or 6 years ago. It didn't even exist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, changes, there's always lots of change happening in people's lives. And so we have a series of exercises we go through. So, we use a Retireability roadmap. So that flows out of this. And on the Retireability roadmap, we'll address each of those issues every quarter. And one of the things we do is send out exercises to help people to, on their own time, they can go in and do these and understand what potentially could happen. And then we'd have a discussion in our meetings about how we can, help them better prepare for those issues.
Is that the idea, Jeff, to help you better prepare? And do you want to get the score up, I guess? Do you want to take it again maybe a couple of years down the road and get into that B area?
Absolutely. I mean, that's, in fact, that's part of what we tell clients is that our job is to get you up there and move that score up. I think that in terms of improving that score, it's a slow process. It's a little here, a little there.
Yeah. You know what the roadmap does for people is it makes it much more tangible. So when they take a look at it, they say, okay, you scored a 65, you scored a C. By the end of 2 years, we can get you an A if we go through this process. And the problem is that if I was to deliver, a big report with all these exercises and say, okay, here. Go ahead, Tim.
Homework.
Here's your homework. Go do it. I bet you any money it would sit on the shelf and it would be dusting.
Yeah.
You know, you might dust it off.
I'm happy with the C.
Yeah, I'll just stay.
I'll just take the C.
I'm a solid C, right?
Yeah.
But I think what helps with people to plan better is to take it in bite-sized pieces. And that's what we aim to do in terms of addressing these issues. And then if we are able to score it, it really quantifies for them how they're making progress and making sure it gives them a sense of confidence that heading into retirement that they've covered off all the issues and that they need to address, right?
How do you know? I mean, one of the questions was, how long do you expect to live? I mean, how do you know that? You're looking at your family history, the current health issues. I mean, I don't know. I didn't know what to put there.
Human beings are optimists by nature, anyways.
Not me. I think I put 70.
If we look at actuarial numbers, we're in our early 80s, at least men are. Women tend to live longer.
Yeah.
But the longer we live, also, I think the longer our life expectations are.
Yeah.
And
so once you get to 80, you realize, oh, I got a shot at 90 here. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I got a shot at 90. So I think, you sort of take the actuarial numbers and, assume 80, 85 and work from there.
Average person, by the way, said 85.
Did they? Yeah. So I'm
you're
lowballing myself.
You're lowballing,
right?
yeah, you're sandbagging.
Yeah.
You probably want to go the other way.
I'm here for a good time,
90.
not a long time, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's just, but there is difficult. Some of the questions you're like, wow, I don't know. It's like, gee, and how much money are you going to have, for example, in retirement? We don't necessarily know that. Do you guys deal with the people who have the pensions, the defined benefit pensions? Those guys, the lucky guys who are retiring now, and the people who work for government and those types of things, as opposed to the defined contribution, which is mostly the rest of us. We don't exactly know what our big chunk's going to be when we hit 65 or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, actually an interesting stat out of that is that probably 40% of the people that answered the questionnaire go into retirement with benefits in place. So that tells me they likely have a pension in place. And part of the things that we do measure is what they do have for pensions coming in from OAS, CPP, and from a pension defined benefit or defined contribution, whatever. And so what's happening, I think that people that do have a defined benefit plan are huge leg up in terms of confidence levels, right?
Well, they know how much money they're going to get each month, and it's guaranteed for the rest of their life, right?
What's going on out in markets and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
So what would you recommend to the people who have the defined contribution, which is for these days is pretty much everybody under 50, unless they work for the government, for example?
Well, another interesting thing, even if you don't have enough money going in, it doesn't mean you can't retire, right? It's all about your definition. So, of it, roughly half the people that answered the questionnaire plan to work part-time or full-time in retirement. So there's always that option. If you don't have enough money saved, you can always go back to work or and redefine it as part of your purpose and make it a positive thing, right?
Yeah, and it all depends on two of the things you want to do in retirement. We've talked about that before, right? Whether you want to become part of a volunteer group or travel the world, or I mean, your costs. Each person's costs are going to be different in retirement, right?
Yeah, and I think from a standpoint of travel, that's probably going to be one of your largest expenses. So travel, negligence of your affairs, and taxes so I call them TNT. But anyway, so of the 90% of the people that actually answered the questionnaire expect to travel either frequently or occasionally. Right. So it is a significant issue.
And do you factor in, like, if your kids, maybe your kids are going to be a burden on you, or maybe it could be the other way around. Maybe your kids, you might be a burden on them. Well, they may develop, they may get a great education and a great job or something like that too. That might help you out in retirement.
Yeah, I don't
Never
know.
count on that.
Well, I wouldn't be planning that way, but certainly those are the options. I mean, whenever we're talking about all this, I mean, you're looking, what are the potential sources of income or revenue or capital? I mean, there's inheritances, there's all kinds of things that are, that people don't necessarily factor into where they're going.
Another interesting statistic out of this, I'm kind of the numbers guy in this whole thing because
stats.
I really analyze this stuff.
Hockey.
But 45% of the people expect to have some sort of a limitation, either personal, due to kids, parents, spouse, that sort of thing. So that's going to impact how you spend your time. And if you're planning to do a lot of traveling and you've got a dependent parent or spouse or children that you need to worry about, you're not going to be doing a lot of traveling, right?
Yeah. Now, the Retireability survey is online.
Yeah.
So where do our viewers go, and how long does it take to finish it? I mean, I know because I did it, but
It's, well, okay, so you can Google the Retireability score,
okay.
and it should take you less than 15 minutes. Now, don't hold me to it.
Yeah.
Depends on how much time you take thinking about the questions, but there's roughly 50 questions. And it's designed in a way that I think it's pretty user friendly. So you just sort of tick off the boxes, and so and I think anybody can do it. It's not something that you have to have special financial skills or anything like that. It's really more identifying how much planning you've done, and identifying with what your view and vision of things is.
Okay. And again, your guys' website, if people want to get a hold of you?
Yourlifeyourplan.ca, and I should mention that there's a link to the Retireability score on our site as well.
Excellent.